Hi, welcome to Life Expressions. I'm your host, Chari Hinete Elon. They say entrepreneurs have a mindset that sees the possibilities rather than the problems created by change. My guest today is one social entrepreneur, but she has undergone a process that has prepared her to be excellent at her work. She is a good friend of mine, and she is one of the very few persons that I have admired ever since I was in high school up to this moment. Well, without further ado, please welcome my guest, November Canieso-Yeo. Hi, November, Nov.
Hey, Cha, thank you for having me.
And thank you
Nadayon,
so
good man ta.
Dayon Gidmanta. I'm so glad that Dayon Gidmanta. Nov, for people to know you better, I think it's best for you to tell your story, how you become a social entrepreneur. First, let's start with you being an active student leader in University of St. LaSalle when you were in college. You were in Balayan and you were a student activist, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll say something a little earlier than that. No?
Yes.
So I grew up in a remote, sleepy town in Isabela. At that time, it was a fifth class municipality. And I was born in 1974. And the years after that were very difficult, as you know, no? During the martial law era. So, and Isabela especially was very difficult because it's still one of the chicks area, yung mga
Yeah.
hotspot in Negros, di ba? So that's so what I'm saying is because of the experiences I had in Isabela, it made me take up economics. No? Life was very difficult. So sabi ko, how do I make my life better? So sabi ko, siguro if I had the money, my life would be better, right? So sabi ko, ano kayang courses na maganda? So sabi ko, oh, economics is really good.
Yeah.
So that's why I took up economics. But
Mm.
the economics that's really nice, no, offered by in LaSalle was called Community Development Economics. That time, wala pa yung word na they say
Social
right now, which is
entrepreneurship.
social entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
But if you look at it, the what we studied, it was really social entrepreneurship. But I was when I was in LaSalle, there was a community extension program, no, Balayan. Then I volunteered, no, when I was in first year, and I really think that Balayan was a great exposure for me because I would be able to enrich what I need to learn in classroom
Mhm.
by learning it outside. After all, economics is a living course, so you have to learn it outside. And then I was also a student leader in a student government. So when I was in Balayan, so one of the first things that we did as a youngster, I we taught kids sa magsungay. So magsungay uh is a barangay near the ocean, and it was the dumping site, no. So we taught kids kasi not a lot of people would go to Magsungay because it was a very dirty place, no?
Yeah.
In fact, when we went there, when the tide rises. By the way, do I have to speak in English or can I speak
Oh,
in
yeah, of course
Ilonggo
you can
also?
speak in Ilonggo. It's a mix.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Kung
Yes.
magtaog,
Yeah.
ang tubig nagasaka sila balay upod yung basura, no? Yun.
Yes.
So nami ito siyang exposure for us kasi while we were teaching kids, we also learned from the kids and then from the environment.
Yeah.
So yun. So that's why when we speak about the plastic problem, we know it
Yeah.
because we have suffered from it, diba?
Mhm.
Or when we talk about poverty, we know it. Kasi from my own personal and from the volunteer areas that we went to.
Yeah.
So that was first year. But damo perks man as a volunteer, no, aside from
Mhm.
learning. You also get to meet people you would not normally meet. No? So for example, one of the people whom I admired that I met when I was in first year was Brother Rolly Dizon.
Mhm.
So siya naghambal during sa graduation. And because I get to meet these people are very inspiring, I also got inspired. So and then when I was in second year college, I volunteered sa ano naman, sa youth group. Now, what we were doing was we were educating people ourselves and people about elections. No,
Yeah.
so we went around many towns and cities all over Negros. I think around 32.
Mhm.
And then, so ako yan, na-assign ako sa pag-lecture, we do this in the morning. Ako man na-assign sa Recorrida, yung you're
Yeah.
going around town announcing that there's going to be a seminar on free elections. We were non-partisan that time.
Yes.
And then in the evening, ang iban ko naman niya kaupod who are really good in theater, in singing,
Mhm.
we organized yung kita ka na sa plaza nga may
Yes.
show,
Like a
right?
skit,
And then,
right? Yes.
like a skit. And then yung mga tao, wala pa to that time internet, right? So
Mm-mm.
they would go sa town plaza in the evening kag
Yeah.
mamati samon. So we combined both the cerebral and then the emotional approach of
Mhm.
talking about clean elections. No? And this exposure, syempre sa jagid kay puro kami kids, but at the same time, may mga dangers man. No? So one of the dangers, for example, was, well, one, our budget was very limited.
Mhm.
Kung di lang kami paistaron, dito lang kami pwede ka-istar. Ang sa ginistara namon was ang palaliguan layo. By the time may nagbalik ka, palamalhas ka na
Wala.
naman liwat, wala ka nakapaligo. Also, for example, our food was very limited. Naalala ko one time, ang leader naman si Vinci, we were guests to San Carlos, we were offered a snack. No,
Yeah.
ya pa ko magkaon kasi daw kuluya magkaon damo bala.
Uh-uh.
Di bala. So, ginabala ko tikani ko ni Vinci. November kan ana na kay inita kabalo ko no oras taliwat mo kaon.
Makaon.
Mga
Yeah.
amo na bala nga mga sitwasyon.
Mm-mm.
But it toughened us and it exposed us to the realities in the field. No? Yun, so that was in 1992. So in 1993 and 1994, mga medyo senior na kami. So kami
Mhm.
na yung nag-lead sa ibang mga volunteers.
Yeah.
So we were asked to speak na in many seminars, both inside the school and outside. Ang dami sa Balayan kasi we got exposed also outside gid, no? So first year pa lang, nagkatuto na kami sa Magsungay. Sa 1992 elections, gato ko different towns and cities, nag-volunteer ko sa NAMFREL. And then sa 92, 93, 94, nagsunod ng Foreign Debt Coalition, rally na kami outside para sa US bases, and then sige-sige talk sa farmers, etc. Actually, women farmers and youth. Yan.
Mhm. Yeah. In 1994, after you graduated, what happened?
Okay, so 1994 gin-mention ko da kagina sa imo nga
Yeah.
actually nagdaog ako sa 1993 no sa youth forum sponsored by the Sur Optimist International. So they gathered kids all over the Philippines. So first I competed locally.
Yeah.
So nagdaog ko and then sa Bacolod and then I competed sa region and
Mhm.
then nagdaog man ko and then I competed sa national sa nagdaog man ko. So the reward was representing the Philippines in the Youth Forum internationally. So they brought
Wow.
us to Washington, D.C., to West Virginia. Doon. Nami gid, no? Nami gid yung experience. It was my first time to go outside the Philippines and it's very eye-opening to
Yeah.
see the world. Ayan.
Yeah.
So after naman graduation, before graduation, LaSalle nominated me to the 10 outstanding students of the Philippines. It was a very, and then they asked us, so after the nomination, siyempre, damo-damo nominations all over the Philippines. Oh, at
Yes.
least siguro 300. So nagpili sila asing 30 lang. So I was one of the 30 and they brought us in. Kada missing room ba? Mga pahigadigad, may mga cum laude lang kami. Pero mapupunto lang mga summa cum laude and they're from different schools, no?
Yeah.
So, but they were very, very humble and very fun to be with. It was a really great exposure. It was organized by Concepcion Industries, di ba?
Mhm. Yeah.
So kanami gid nga experience. Until now, there's still 10 outstanding students of the Philippines, and our awarding was in Malacanang.
Mhm.
So kanami gid. So it was really, really nice and ma-honor ka gid sa work mo. Bala kabalo ka nga bisan bata ka lang.
Yeah.
Do ka ordinaryo man lang sa ginahimo naton, pero in the larger scale of things, very important that we do something while we are young
Yeah.
and on the things that are really important. Yeah.
Yeah. That is
So
wonderful.
after LaSalle, I I worked in UP Diliman for education. So we were doing research. My head then was, she's still alive, no? Dr. Hasmina Punya. That time she was only one of the 4 cognitive psychologists in the Philippines. Very, very
Yeah.
brilliant. So what we were trying to do was we were developing a test
Mhm.
to measure those who have gone outside of the school, out of school youth, if they want to go back to the first ano na level na sila. So for example, nag-drop out ka when you were in grade 4.
Mhm.
Actually, pag mo after sa grade 4 ka, it's not nga nag-untat ka learn, no? Kasi most likely nag-obra ikaw. And then if you want to go back to school, do you go back as 4th year, as grade 4, grade 2, grade 3, what? So you take the test. So the test will tell you ano ka na nga level. Yon. So, amo ng forerunners ang ALS.
Yes.
So, asa lang ko daw or masigi-sige ko
Yes, please
istorya?
continue. Please continue your story.
So sa research kanami bala kasi nag-research kami all over the Philippines. So
Yes.
ang farthest nga nakadtuan ko was in Pangasinan. Wala na kami gid padala sa Banawe kay Hubin pa kami mo. I was just 20 that time.
Yeah.
At yung sa south naman ang farthest nga nakadtuan ko was sa Tawi-Tawi.
Mhm.
So makita mo gid yung ano bala yung state of education all over the Philippines, no? And then, kanami man kay ang exposure ko to was, so, ang upod namon sa research yun, si Dr. Acuña. And
Yeah.
then, aside from nag-research ko, nag-edit pagig ko sa mga work. So, kanami, gid na while I was reading, I was learning. So, after in UP, I was there for 1 year. There was an opening in BPI for honor graduates, no?
Mhm.
Yung yung mga bago sa bangko would have to spend 3 to 5 years as a teller, new account, ganon.
Yeah.
Pero when after we underwent some training program for 6 months, officer na kami training to.
Yeah.
So they exposed us in different departments in the bank, no? Unibank na ang BPI.
Mhm.
Tapos kasadya pa na siya kaya
Yeah.
ang program has 3 parts, no?
Okay.
Bawat siyempre yung sweldo namon, no? That
Yes.
time basta dako ang sweldo namon.
Yes.
Pero they give a test every program, no? Sa
Yeah.
first nga classroom, if you fail the test, politely they will ask you to resign.
Oh, really?
So ako naman, because it was a very high well-paying job,
Yeah.
ang ginapamensa ko, how will I pass this, no?
Yes.
So then
Did you study
kasadya,
was there an exam? Was it a practical test, a written test?
there was a test every week.
Okay,
And then
wow.
there was a big test, no?
Yeah.
So ang ginahimo ko kay tungod nga these are new things, right?
Yes. Yes.
Mapuli ko na early pa kasi sa Makati, and then matulog ko na, and then I will wake up at 12, matuon ako na astagid mag-aga. So para
Wow.
fresh. Yeah. So in short,
Yes.
you really
I
have to
know.
be strategic about
Correct.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oo. So, pero ang ka-funny pa na, kasi sa dormitoryo kami tanan, because it was very stressful, biskan ano ka lang yung oras, mabugtaw, sing oras, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter if it's 5 in the morning, or 2 in the morning, or 11 in the evening, may kahampang na ping-pong because of the stress.
Okay.
Sadya sa mon.
So there's no
So,
curfew.
yeah, there's no
Okay.
curfew.
Yeah.
And then, ang second part sang program was parang ano siya parang practical, no? Ang ginkuha ko was I signed up to convert the Naga Business Center from manual to
Yeah.
digital, no?
Digital.
Kasi may system na yung BPI They just need a person who will teach them how to do. So for example, ang mga naga-loan, yung
Mhm.
una, ma-fill up sila pen and paper, no? And then we had to teach yung personnel sa business center how to code it in the system.
Yeah.
So now, they can see the record sa computer, no?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yun. And then may back end na siya. How do we now connect yung back end sang business center to Manila?
Yeah.
Yan.
Okay.
So, yung third part na sa Amon was parang they assigned us to a specific area in the bank
Mhm.
And then at the end of it, they do a revalida of anything and everything under the sun. Ako,
Okay.
naging pili ko loans. Kaya
Okay.
kabalo ko nga ang loans is the bread and butters in bank.
Yeah.
Obviously, they will protect those in loans. Ang subtext is they will pay better
Yes.
kung
Yeah.
nara ka sa loans.
Yeah.
So ang ginimo ko, kay kabalo ko nga I should never fail the revalida. So
Mhm.
ang ginhimo ko, ginlanta ko kung sisinong mananog revalida sa akon sa end. And what I did was every week I would go to their offices and syempre ginmigo ko sila mga VPs
Yeah.
na, and then
Yeah.
ask them,
Uh-huh.
can you ask me anything and everything about loans?
Okay. So you could
Which
prepare
they did.
yourself. Wow. Yeah.
Which they did. Very,
Yeah.
very helpful. True
Yeah.
enough, during the revalida, the people I asked were my panelists. So may
Wonderful.
isa to ka VP saying, November, ano pa bang itatanong namin sa iyo? Kasi tinanong mo na kami. Sa pinsar ko lang, that's the idea.
You really are, shall I say, strategic, no? You know how to
So,
strategize.
dapat lang, di
Yes,
ba?
very good. Yeah.
So, yun. So, I passed na the revalida, and then I
How
was
long did it
assigned.
take, by the way, ang Rivalida, from the first test up to the last?
Siguro about 1.5 months.
Oh.
Sorry, yung
The
exposure
whole,
sa
the
loans
exposure, yeah. From
is
the
1.5
first test.
months.
Okay, 1.5 months. Okay.
Sorry. You mean the training 6
Yeah, the
months?
training. Oh, 6
So
months.
the training is 6 months, tapos
Mhm.
2 months for each of the programs. So
Yeah.
2 months. No?
Yeah. And of course, you get paid while doing the training. And
Yes,
then
yes, of
at the
course.
end of the Rivalida, when you pass, they will assign you to a position.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And what position you were assigned to?
I was a loans officer for BPI.
Yes.
I was assigned in Bacolod. I
And
asked for a
how old were
Bacolod
you,
assignment.
Gani? Bila edad mo, saan loans officer ka na?
So in 1995, I was 21 when I started. So while 22, I was already signing checks ngadlag ko sa
Amazing.
BPI. It's a really good training for
Yeah.
to become responsible.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And so how many years did you stay with BPI?
I was there in 1995 to 2002, so that's 7 years.
Yeah.
So na-assign ako sa Bacolod, Iloilo, Cebu.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what made you leave BPI?
Oh, because I got a scholarship in AIM. So I have to mention that when I
Yes.
started, when they assigned me, 1997, there was a financial crisis.
Yeah. Yes,
Yun.
I remember that.
So
Yeah.
which was really very important kasi when we have money, balangin na pamensar talang that we always have money. Pero na-experience ko na 1997 that there was a crisis. Parang how do you manage during crisis time?
Yeah.
So ang BPI because ang iya policies was really good. Hindi wala siya nagpautang sa mga naga-loan balasing dollar. Kung hindi ang source mo of our revenue is dollar. Hindi siya masyado na tamaan.
Oh, okay.
So on the ground naman sa mga clients ko, ang mga natamaan was uso to the time nag-convert sila into real estate. Kadumdum ka?
Yes.
I-convert
Yes.
nila farmlands into subdivisions. Kaya gipabaliga. Kasi syempre mas dako ang kitaon mag-subdivision.
Subdivision.
Sadya, kaya nga pag crisis, syempre mga tao, iba na
Didn't
dulaan
have money.
obra, yun, nag-ano sila, wala sila kabayad. So, ang mga nag-utang man sa amon, wala man sila kabayad. So, pero nanimian ko sa naging experience ko was that time I was assigned, I will not mention the business center. I was assigned in one business center and their loan, their problematic loans was too high, double digit. So one of the things that I did was, as required, was able to push it down to single digit. As kesa requirement yun sa BSP. So what I did was, ginistorya ko isa-isa ang mga clients nga katama na I know if I'm able to make these particular loans into current loans, manubogid yung exposures ng BPI. So after I talk to them, na realize ko nga hindi sila man gusto nga mag-default sila, no? So tagaan nila lang sila sa leeway. So ginpa-decrease ko yung penalties, pero in exchange for that, they have to update the interest payment. So from past due, na move ko sila into current.
Oh, I'm so interested. Which center is that? Isn't that Bacolod?
Secret. At tapos one
Okay.
of the things
Yeah.
na nami man sa exposure ko sa Cebu, kasi
Yeah.
ibang level ang negosyo sa Cebu, no? So,
Yeah.
for example, kung ang portfolio sang Bacolod is, example lang niya,
Yes.
100, ang
Mhm.
portfolio sa Iloilo is 1,000. Ang
Yeah.
portfolio sang Cebu is at least 3 times more than
Oh,
Iloilo.
yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. So in 1997, you have decreased the exposure of BPI to bad debts. Is that correct? Uh,
From bad
from
debts
bad debts, right? So
to current
nag-current ang
loans.
debts, nag-current ang ilang balance. And after that, what happened?
So after sa BPI, no, there
Mhm.
was an opening sa scholarship sa
Yeah.
AIM. Actually, 1997 pa lang, I was really on a lookout for a
Mm.
scholarship nga
Yeah.
hopefully tani abroad, no. Pero sumula siya nag-abot as kaginay na estudyante kundi para sa imo, hindi kina para sa imo.
Yes.
So but in 2002, AIM kasi is an international school.
Correct.
So half lang kami Filipinos, the rest of us are foreign students. So it was
Mhm.
a really good exposure. So
Yeah.
I got a full scholarship. And then when I was in AIM, I had to have really good grades kasi out of the 80 kami, you have to be in the first 15 so you can keep your scholarship. Yan.
Yeah.
So, ti bira-bira eh.
Yeah.
Tapos, pero kanami man kasi sa pag-graduate namon, they have a program balang if you're one of the top students, they give
Mhm.
you a slot for exchange.
Mhm.
The slot that they gave me was Keio University in Japan. Parang Harvard na siya sa Japan.
Yeah.
Pero ako kalakat kay
Mhm.
tungod nga wala ko sig pangitaan for my everyday expense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yon. Nangita ko actually sing organizations that can sponsor me. I went
Yeah.
to around easily 10
Yeah.
organizations wala agad. But
Mhm.
as you said, kung di para sa imo, hindi na para sa imo. So
Yes.
it's fine.
Yes.
So
Yes.
after AIM, kanami bila sa AIM kay because the training is really good, companies go there and scout. So you
Of
don't have to
course.
apply. You
Yeah.
get invited.
Yeah.
So so I was
That's how
invited
great
to.
the institution is. And of course, I would just like to make mention that it's not easy to get a full academic scholarship in AIM. Remember, all the students who get there are already bright to get an academic scholarship. Wow, that just means a lot, diba? And then the tuition there is highfalutin. So skyrocketing high. So to get that is amazing already. And of course, it just follows that you don't need to apply for a job. You get invited by big corporations, and you got invited by no less than Globe Telecom.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
So when I was in Globe Telecom, so they put us in parang ano na siya, middle to senior na management position.
Yeah.
So they assigned us in different departments again, no. So
Yeah.
one of the departments that I really like was yung sa collections, billing and collections. And it
Yeah.
was a very boring na department, no?
Mhm.
Compared mo sa mga marketing, di ba?
Yeah.
Collections is boring. But one of the things that I was able to discover was
Mhm.
dako-dako ang exposure sing that time sing
Yeah.
2002 sing Globe for their yung mga unpaid na mga
Mhm.
balances. Ang
Yeah.
policy nila sing una was 3 months eh.
Yeah.
They will not cut off until for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I did a computation how much they were losing
Mhm.
because their collection time is
It's,
very
yeah.
well
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
At sa awa ng Diyos ngayon, if you're not able to pay one day, they will cut
Let me
you
cut
off.
you off. That's your fault.
But I think they liked my work, no?
Yeah.
One of the things also that I did was they assigned me to choose which among of the pop telcos in the Philippines Globe should partner with
Mhm.
to for internet.
Yeah.
So what I did was I looked already the data on the pop telcos, where they are, what's their subscription, subscriber level, etc. I went to NSO and get the
Mhm.
data on age and income level. And then match ko lang. So
Mhm.
which dogin sala kabla.
Yeah.
Insalaan ko was kabalon man ko nga ang gataw lang ga internet was they have to have a PC, di ba?
Yeah.
That time hindi pa damo sing smartphones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in short, sing una, that time, 2002, kung may computer ka, medyo hindi ka na pigado. Medyo may
Mm-hmm.
kwarta ka na kasi
Mm-hmm.
ka-afford kang bakal PC. So, yon. So, I was able to recommend which of the top telcos Globe should partner with.
Mm-hmm.
So, after my training, they assigned me as a head of business planning in the corporate side of Globe. Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. So, how did you find the experience as business head planning, head of business planning? Is that correct? How do you
Yes,
call it?
yes, yes.
Yes, head of business
It
planning.
it was scary. Parang ano bala, dugatindog ka sa bungyod nga pag amo man na magsala ka basi madagdag ka kasi
Yeah,
the stakes are high, 'di ba?
correct.
'Yon.
Yeah.
So it was I actually think that if I had a position when I was a bit older, I would have been able to enjoy it, not
Mhm.
just get stressed about it.
You were so
'Yan.
scared at that time, were
It
you?
was it was very scary. It was
Yeah.
very scary. Yeah. So one of the things that we did, man, was we we organized a team how to take over the data center operations of Ayala Port into Globe Telecom. Yun. Alam mo yun, parang when the
Yeah.
stakes are high, kabalo ka
Yes.
gid nga,
Yeah.
I don't know kung dugalakat ka bala sa pilas,
Yeah.
maggulpi ka
Because
lang
if
sa
you make a
la.
mistake, it's like everybody will make a mistake too, because your decision uh, is the first one. Like you're the one who's guiding the way. Di ko magtalang ka be. No?
Correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct. Oo,
So,
yun. Yun. So, one of the things also that I liked, and then they assigned me also in segment marketing, no? Ano naman siya, so ang work namon in segment, kasi I was in Globe for, I was there 2004
mhm.
up to 2012. That's about
Yes.
8 years,
Eight
no?
years.
One
Yeah.
of one of the assignments also that I had was head of segment marketing. Our
Mhm.
work was we were the ones taking care of relationship in industries, vertical industries, no?
Mhm.
And then also our work was to study and recommend which of the new businesses Globe should enter.
Mhm.
Yon, on a per industry.
Yeah. And what
Yon.
was
So
the result of your study at one point?
So, for example, kasi I was handling all the industries, di ba? There were people under me assigned in different industries.
Mhm.
So, isa sa mga amon nga nakita nga there's really a problem right now. That time, ang pila sa doktor.
Yeah.
Pero, how do you solve that problem sa pila sa
Mhm.
need for health,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And how do we use telecom to do it? Right now, it's a very easy answer kasi you can
Yeah.
do Zoom, no,
Yes.
consultations. But that time, hindi pa.
Yeah.
So so one of the things that we recommend was yung telemedicine, no.
Mhm.
So right now, you see, Globe has a offer that you
Yeah.
can call doctors, right?
Yes.
Of
Yeah.
course, hindi lang kaming works na kasi the way Globe does it is
Mhm.
they have set of people doing researches
Of
and
course.
then and studies, and then they say, oh, kung common yung mga findings nyo, then it must be good. Kasi
Yeah.
these are not the people that were chosen to study it.
Yeah.
And if there's 2 or 3 groups saying we will do this, then we should really look into it.
Yeah. That's a wise move now for them to really get the consensus. Yeah. So after Globe, no, what happened? Like, why did you decide to leave Globe?
Okay. So it was a very hard decision to leave Globe, no? Kasi more than the pay, maganda yung pay. You know,
Yeah.
it's 6 digits na pay.
Yeah.
It's really also mga opportunities bala of learning and meeting people
Yeah.
na you can really learn a lot from. And these
Yeah.
are prime movers in the industry.
Yeah.
There was one event gani that I was there in Globe. We were in El Nido in Palawan. We were with, I think, 7 CEOs.
Mhm.
Saling ko, ay naku, kung kidakon kami di galitanan, ano ni kadako ng industriya, maubos naman, kaya di mga CEO. So it was very fun. They were really nice. Pero, siling ko, that time, my daughter was 3 years old. So siling ko, dali lang gid. So we have this much. But I also know that I will not be in corporate for a long time.
Mhm.
Siling ko, I really want to get into business.
Yeah.
No? Tapos, siling ko man nga, ang bata ko, 3 years old, gina-project ko nga mga 10, 11, they will have their own life. They will
Mhm.
not be with us for a long, long time, di ba?
Mhm.
So, if I miss that time to be with her, hindi ko na siya ma-recoup, hindi ko na siya ma-recoup, no?
Mhm.
So, siling ko, I have to find a work nga I will be able to spend a lot of time with her. That's why I left. Ayan. So, nag-move kami dire. Actually, when we were wanting to leave, me and my husband, wanting to leave corporate, we were thinking of going abroad.
Mhm.
Except that the rules in Canada changed. They gave us back our money. So, siling naman, it's not for us. So,
Yeah.
that's why we came back to Bacolod. Yeah.
Mhm.
So after when I arrived here ano kami nagnegosyo kami naglending kami.
Mhm.
Usually singunang lendings ito ng very serious yung rates, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Pero ang amon niya is low nga interest at the
Yeah.
same time ang payment scheme nga tibawa sa gid sa
Mhm.
loan, no? Subong
Mhm.
kasi ang loan parang yung design niya is you will be forever indebted to that company
Mhm.
kasi mahal aside from mahal ang interest rate ang computation nila sing imo nga repayment is also very expensive, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So sang that time damo pasalamat sa amon nga ma'am na bayaran gid namon ang amon nga
Mga loan.
utang
Yeah.
pag saylo namon kasi usually gahulam sila kung magpa-abroad sila bala kasi
Mhm.
may mga placement fees, may mga
Mhm.
fees nga may plete, etc.
Mhm.
And then they pay it kunwari na sila sa abroad kaya
Yeah.
maka-obra sila. Ayun.
Mhm.
Hasta nga wala na sila loan. Yun.
Mhm. Mhm.
So nang next ko man nga negosyo that time was nag-call center ko. Sa call center ko, kanami kay ka-simple sing campaign bla, I was able to hire kahit yung mga high school graduates, no?
Okay. Yeah.
Sing una and now, usually kung high school graduate, hindi nakasulod sa mga call centers mo, di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi taas ang requirements ng speaking ability. But because of us, I was getting mga callers from Bagosphere, no? They were
Okay.
training mga high school students and then they also find financing para maka-eskwela ang kabataan and then they get hired. Isa
Yeah.
kami na to singa hire sa ila. Can you imagine yung matinira lang sila sa amon call center 1 month, 3 months? And then makasulod na sila sa mga big call
Call
centers.
centers. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that's
you
good for
provided
them. But
training too. Yeah.
that's good for them. Pero it was also very difficult for us kasi I would be forever training, di ba? And I was a small company. So we
Yeah.
just had 10, 15 seats.
Mhm.
Nag-ano man ko, nagbaligya man kami sing consumer goods.
Mhm.
Kanami sing consumer goods nga ginabaligya namon kay we were able to get a footing na in the industry except that our main principal nga
Mhm.
ka-import
Mhm.
nag-close. So wala na kami kuhaan, hindi man kami pwede ka. And then I also went into Megaworld.
Mhm.
And then after Megaworld, I started na sa Philippine Cinema,
Yeah. So
2017.
yeah. So all of these experiences now, would you say that this has led you to become a better social entrepreneur and has prepared you to this new role that you're taking for yourself?
Yes, definitely, definitely. That's a really good insight, no, Cha. I actually think that I was all along I was being prepared to do this. No, at wala siling natong gida nga,
Yeah.
if it's not for you, it's not for you. But definitely, God is trying to bring us to a place which is even much better than what we think is good
Yes.
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have this Plantsville. You are into the conservation of cinnamon. How and why did you get into this?
So that time, so while I was still in Mega World,
Mhm.
actually nagsugod ko sa balay diri 2013 when we bought our own house.
Mhm.
Nag-organic gardening na ko. Kasi
Mhm.
I have always loved gardening since I was a child,
Yeah.
yon. And that's what I was not able to do in corporate kasi taman ko ka busy. Kag guest star kami sa condo, jutay lang gyud lang matanong mo.
Yeah.
So, yun, simuna, gabugtaw ko alas 5 na ya kay para hindi pa init katama. Kag mananom, kay sadyahan kayo mananom. Kasi
Mhm.
actually, gali, ang soil, has a bacteria
Mhm.
that makes us happy. Yun.
Okay. I
Oo.
like that bacteria.
Nalipat lang ko nga lang sing bacteria subong, but
Yeah.
I will message it to you.
Yes.
So kaya sung ga organic gardening ko diri sa balay, because my lot is small, no?
Mhm.
260 square meters lang kami. In Manila siguro that's big, but in Bacolod that's small. So
Mhm.
sa ko, because I have a small lot, kailangan ang itanom namon nga mga ano was superfood.
Mhm.
Yon, one of the superfood. Kaga-vlog ko to that time.
Yeah.
So one of the superfoods that I found was cinnamon.
Mhm.
So syempre, because I was blogging, I was researching and talking about it and writing about it. And then
Mhm.
that's when I discovered that there are 19 native species of Philippine cinnamon. And then I looked at the data.
Yeah.
So because my background is economics and banking,
Yeah.
and business planning, right away kita ko the opportunity.
Yeah.
In 2011, we were already importing around 29,000 kilos of cinnamon,
Mhm.
and around almost 100% of that is imported. Sabi ko, why are we importing cinnamon when we have
Yeah.
our own?
Mhm.
Yon, di ba? So I approached my friend who is in the Provincial Environment Management Office, si Luisa Tutor. And then I said, do you know that we have Philippine cinnamon? And I said, where can I find cinnamon here? Sabi niya, you go to DSB, they have Kalingag there. So the local name is Kalingag.
Mhm.
So when I went to DSB, they know
Mhm.
Kalingag, but they
Mhm.
didn't know that the Kalingag is the cinnamon.
Okay. Kalingag is the cinnamon. Okay.
Yes. In Negros, it's called Kaningag. Kaningag.
Kaningag. Mhm.
Oo. They
Mhm.
were making uling out of the kaningang trees.
Yeah.
Yun.
So making
So when
uling, okay. So they're burning the trees to make it charcoal.
yes,
Okay. Wow.
yes.
What a waste.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So they didn't know, and even the mayor, the time
Mhm.
I spoke to him, he didn't know that the kaningag is the cinnamon.
Okay. Yeah.
Yun. So I was able to convince them to get into cinnamon. We were able to
Mhm.
get funding from the local government union. So when we started one was just around 50 trees.
Mhm.
By 2019, the LGU reported that 14,000 seedlings have been planted for the Philippine cinnamon.
Wow. And that's all in DSB.
That's all in the SB.
Yeah. So how deep is your involvement in this? I believe you are
So
spearheading this.
yes, yes, I spearheaded the project. No,
Mm-hmm.
I also led. I wrote the proposal to LGU so the
Mm-hmm.
funding can be given.
Yeah.
I asked, of course, I asked help, no, from many people.
Mm-hmm.
One of those was si Dr. Ariel Tutor, who's a forester and previously assistant dean in West Visayas State University.
Mm-hmm.
And his expertise is on Philippine cinnamon. So siya nag-train sa mga farmers. Actually, yung cinnamon is very easy to plant kasi kabalo ko naman sa mga native trees. They
Yeah.
practically plant and forget.
Yeah.
I just needed someone who he is really an expert
Mm-hmm.
para he can teach properly. At the same time, there's a trust that can be developed kasi hindi
Yeah.
naman ako forester and farmer, di ba?
Yeah.
Yun. So, after that, ang kabalokig ko yan, ang task ko, once it's planted, is how to process the Philippine cinnamon
Mm-hmm.
so we can really derive the high value that it has. No?
Yes.
So, syempre ngita naman ko si mga allies, no, DOST, DTI, Technological University of the Philippines, Dr. Doronila, and along the way, I met many people who are really passionate about the environment and about
Yeah.
conservation
Yeah.
and about helping entrepreneurs and about helping farmers. No?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we were able to get our FDA registration last year. We have a small
Congratulations.
processing facility
Wow.
provided by Technological University of the Philippines. So they have a building in Barangay Matabang in
Mm-hmm.
Talisay, and
Yeah.
then they gave the funding para it can be retrofitted
Mm-hmm.
into a facility that is FDA compliant.
Yes.
And then I got assistance from DOST in terms of packaging and labeling and consulting. Also from DTI in terms of marketing, labeling,
Yeah.
etc. And other support pagid.
Yeah.
Oo. Mga
That's a lot of
trainings.
work. What exactly are the produce from the cinnamon tree?
Okay. So the cinnamon, yes, it's a tree, no? In the wild, it can grow up to 30 meters, no? So it's a really a very important tree.
Yeah.
Of course, you know already that the Philippines was colonized by Spain. And
Yes.
we were colonized for our spices. And these spices are cinnamon,
Yes.
nutmeg, and
Yeah.
clove, right?
Yes.
So practically, the cinnamon uh turned the course of the history of the Philippines, no?
Mm.
That time, cinnamon was called the gold dust of Europe. Kasi mahal siya. I remember in Europe, it
Yeah.
doesn't grow. Mm.
Correct.
So, and then when they found the cinnamon here, they colonized us.
Yeah.
Three, a lot, no? So first, cinnamon is food and medicine, and it is also used in cosmetics and agriculture. So as food, how do you use it? So for
Yes.
example, you buy a seedling from me,
Mhm.
you plant it. Ang leaves na you can use for your food and medicine. How do you use it as food? Magtigang ka sing kanon,
Mhm.
butingi cinnamon leaves. Kay mahamot na yung kanon. It's like pandan bala. 'Di ba? Yung
Yes.
pangpahamot,
Yeah.
pangpa-flavor. Uh, you can also put the cinnamon leaves in practically all dishes. So, mag-adobo ka, butangi cinnamon.
Oh,
Kung
yeah.
maghumba ka, butangi cinnamon. Even may laswa, we can put cinnamon. Hamot ka diyang laswa ng cinnamon. Or, for example, luto ka green shell.
Mhm.
Di ba sometimes may stench nga hindi namin ang green shell.
Mhm.
You put cinnamon, madula na siya. Yun. Uh, Even when I boil peanuts and corn, I put cinnamon leaves. Yun.
Okay.
So it increases the flavor and aroma. At the same time, as a medicine, even when you drink tea, make tea out of the cinnamon, it controls blood sugar. May insulin effect yung cinnamon eh. Parang it opens up
Mm.
the cell so that it can absorb the sugar in your blood. Yan. At yung
Okay.
cinnamon also burns fats. Buot silingon nga yung ano siya, anti-hypertension and anti-diabetes, no? Also, the cinnamon you drink tea, for example, it's analgesic kasi, may analgesic effect ng cinnamon, better than aspirin. So, for example, gingabutan ko sing unto,
Mhm.
di ba tagaan ka na nila sing painkiller, no? Hindi ako kasi gusto mag-inom painkiller kasi it's not good for the liver.
Yeah.
I just drank cinnamon tea. Dula na yun.
Oh,
Hindi sakit.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really amazing. Isa pag it's you can, so that's for the leaves. So what we do now with the leaves, we also distill it. We have a
Mhm.
distiller to
Mhm.
extract the oil, essential oil and hydrosol. So once you have the gagamit ka essential oil.
Yes.
Yes, you know, no?
Yes.
So if you have the EO, you can do many things.
Correct.
You can put it in your what's the
Diffuser.
term?
Diffuser.
Diffuser.
Yeah.
You can make soaps and shampoos, perfumes. So that's cosmetics na side, no? You can we're about to come out with a product. I'm mixing it with virgin coconut oil and moringa oil for oil pulling para yung teeth mo bala sometimes gaduguin mo gums,
Yeah.
it will stop.
Mm. So there's a
Mm.
lot of uses for cinnamon.
It,
Wow.
it
So
it has a lot of
yes.
cinnamon is the fourth most important spice in the world.
Yes. And then we didn't realize until you have discovered that we have a lot of cinnamon in DSB, and then you're growing it and then you're processing it. You have a facility to
Yes.
process it. So how many
Yes.
products have you produced, or shall I say, yeah, different kinds of products have you started producing?
So right now ang amon gid nga main flagship is seedlings, no?
Mhm.
Very important that I'm one of the reasons why I came here is also because I really want to talk about cinnamon. And if you
Yes.
could please, if could everyone please plant cinnamon in your home. Kasi damo gitsing benepisyo sa lawas that
Yes.
you can use every day for cinnamon. Even magtuob ka lang when you go outside, pagbalik
Yeah.
mo sa balay mo, may colds ka,
Yeah.
just inhale hot water with cinnamon and
Wow.
it will kill all the bacteria there kasi antibacterial yung cinnamon.
And then you can just use the leaves of the cinnamon. And do you boil
Yes.
it, or do you just
Oo.
drop it in the hot water? How do you do it?
So for tuob,
Yeah.
boil water and
Yeah.
then after the water boils, you lower the fire, you put the
Mhm.
leaves.
Yes.
And then you can bring it out, no? Kung mag-tea ka, you can
Mhm.
also do that or don't boil it kasi the nutrients usually are killed. No? A lot of nutrients are killed
Yeah.
beyond 85 degrees Celsius.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Yan.
so seedlings
Tapos,
first and then.
seedlings first. By the
Mhm.
way, once you have the seedling planted at home, biskan sa pot lang,
Yeah.
gamay or dako nga pot, pwede na siya. For
Yeah.
example, you have a bite, no, or may itchy ka,
Yeah.
get the leaves, rub it on your skin, and the itch will disappear.
Wow. Yeah.
As in, wow, good siya.
Yes.
So that's how we have the seedlings.
Mhm.
Then, after the seedling, for the leaves, we distill it. We have essential oil and hydrosol.
Yeah.
No? And then for the bark, we dry it and then we grind it and make it into powder.
Yeah.
So that one you can use for your baking.
Mm.
We also have the cinnamon cocoa sugar.
Mhm.
This one you can use in your coffee kasi ang cocoa sugar is low glycemic. Buot silingon, hindi taas ang sugar content. Hindi siya tamis. So you can
Yeah.
put it in your coffee every day. So we also have natural sanitizers. So that's made up of ethyl alcohol, 70%. And instead of plain water, we use hydrosol water and
Mhm.
then put essential oil. You know, if you're using that the whole day, ang kamot
Yeah.
mo hindi na siya mag-dry, kaya
Uh-huh.
hindi man siya magkatol. Kasi
Uh-huh.
di ba, pwede magkatol
Yeah.
imong kamay if you use
Yes.
too much of the sanitizer.
Correct. Yeah. So that's a lot of
And
money.
then I also found a friend na she's making soap. You can put soap, you can put cinnamon in soap.
Mhm.
So shampoo. So you can even make, right now we don't have perfume, no? But ang amon nga sanitizer is almost like perfume. Nubuan lang namon ng alcohol, it's going to be ano na siya, tawag sini ng
A cologne or a perfume?
cologne. Oo.
Cologne.
By the
Yeah.
way, the hydrosol, I use it as a deodorant
Yeah.
and I use it to treat skin issues.
Yeah. Okay. And they're very effective. I bet.
Very, very effective.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's this one lady na sa
Mhm.
babaw, sa farmer, no? She has
Mhm.
this, kita ka na, do, tanan ka pantalawas niya. Kay
Uh-huh.
tamaan ka katul.
Uh-huh.
Intagaan ko siya hydrosol.
Yeah.
Last week, nagbalik ko to, silin sa kunday. Ang kunday nga skin nagnami na baladay. Sige,
Oh.
sige, halang gamit. Kasta gid
Dam.
maubos gid ang
Yeah.
masakit.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, are you producing enough cinnamon? Are you planting enough cinnamon? How is the project going?
Right now, planting mode pagig kami no? Kasi
Yeah.
wala pa kasi sin plantation in cinnamon, no? So
Yeah.
yung mga farmers doon nga nagpartner sa amon, when there was funding for the planting,
Mhm.
syempre may mga crops sila. Ang crops nila different, di ba? They have pineapple, they have corn, they have sugarcane, they have banana. Plant nila sa kilid na areas para there's additional income, no?
Yes.
So growing pa na siya. But we are moving towards, and I'm looking for funding para maging cinnamon plantation again. Guys, tulak lang sa ibang nga farmers, ang ila daw nga kita sa sugarcane ang bulan ni Sag ko, what if itamnan ta na sang bilog nga cinnamon? Kasi
Yeah.
we're looking at a model nga when they plant the cinnamon, ano na siya, pwede na siya ka-replace sa tubo, pwede siya
Yeah.
ka-replace sa pineapple. We
Yeah.
are on that stage.
Yeah.
So in terms of, to your question, damo na kayong produce,
Mhm.
jutay pa. Kasi naka-planting
Planting mode
mode kami.
Yeah.
But what it proves to me,
Mhm.
once the cinnamon has grown, damo-damo na sing pwede na.
Yes. So, what is the acceptance level of the farmers? Are they readily accepting your proposal? Do you have enough support from various departments of the government?
Yeah. So, in terms of acceptance, ang first nga batch nga nagplant is 76 farmers out of the 300 to 350. No?
Mhm.
So, it's really a question of how much funding is available. Kasi kung dako ang funding, almost all farmers will plant. No?
Yeah.
Why will they plant? One, they get paid for
Yeah.
planting the cinnamon.
Correct.
Second, it's planted in their land. Once it's harvested, they get paid again.
Yeah.
So, in short, wala sila kapierdehan, di ba?
Correct. Who gives the
Yun.
funding, Nov? I'm sorry.
So, yung first na funding was given by LGU.
Mhm.
The second funding was given by some of donors for carbon offset.
Mhm.
So, ang next nga funding, and I'm hoping ma-approve dano ko pa nga di, ano naman sila ang ilan naman lang nga work is really for reforestation. They're really, I think damo na sa Canada,
Yeah.
nga they have so much money and they know the problems happening around the world,
Mhm.
and they are willing to part with some of their money to
Yeah.
help solve the problems of the world. So these are
Yeah.
the people.
That's great. So, what are the growth pains that you have experienced in pushing for this Philippine cinnamon?
Oo. Yung gestation period kasi sa cinnamon is lawig, no? So for
Yeah.
example, kung farmer ka, syempre you have to eat every day. Kapag kita ka kuno nung i-plant mo nga makasustainer sa imo pang adlaw-adlaw, no? So
Yes.
maybe mas gusto nila mag-plant sang kamote
Hmm.
instead of cinnamon. Kaya yung kamote, 2 months lang, may harveston ka na, kag may ano
Yeah.
ka na.
Yeah.
Or talong, kasi yung talong, maybe 1.5 months or 1 month,
Mhm.
pwede ka na-harvest.
How
Yung
about the
cinnamon niya,
cinnamon?
3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
2 to 3 years, no?
Yeah.
Although yung iyang pag-atipan, hindi siya mas heavy, hindi siya
Hmm.
heavy as pag-atipan sa talong kasi wala man peste yung cinnamon, 'di ba?
Yes.
Tapos rain-fed man siya kung
Mhm.
itanom mo lang siya along with the trees. So in
Yeah.
short, ang obrahon mo lang sa cinnamon is ihilamunan mo siya.
Yeah.
I-cut mo lang grass para hindi
Mhm.
mag-compete yung grass with cinnamon sa pag-grow.
Yeah.
Yun. So that's one of the growth pains. Parang how do we help sustain the farmers while
Yeah.
the cinnamon is growing? So
Yeah.
palaisipan yun sa akin. So siling ko dapat siguro ang model natin is not just the cinnamon, but it's really about integrated farming where there is really livelihood for the farmer while the
Yeah.
cinnamons are growing.
Correct. Yes. But I'm pretty sure that you are confident that the fruits of your labor of planting cinnamon, especially with the farmers, would, shall I say, outweigh the pains that you are undergoing now.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. So one on a personal level, aside from the business part of the cinnamon, there's also the legacy part, you know.
Yes.
Kasi we're nearing our 50s. In denial.
Oh, proud to
um,
be nearing that. Proud to be nearing that. It is a privilege to
it is, it is.
mature, right?
So we have another just 15 years, Charlie, to
Yeah.
make a difference, no, or keep for our retirement. So there's the legacy part for me. You know, years after we are not here anymore,
Yeah.
those who have planted will remember that the trees are here because of someone. So this is the
Yes.
legacy part.
That's
And
wonderful.
also, there's also the effects of the trees, no? That
Yeah.
you know that because of climate change,
Yeah.
the trees kasi is the main technology to absorb
Yes.
carbon, right?
Yes.
And this one hindi ko pa masyado na fully appreciate. But you know, may isa ka farmer, may ano na siya may cinnamon na siya, mga 50, mga tag-as na.
Oh.
I was there 3 weeks ago. There was a yung endangered species na hawk eagle
Yeah.
flying around. So the fauna and flora will
Yes.
return when the trees are back.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So
Ako nakita, but I know na hindi pa nato nakita subong, but other creatures will return once the trees
yes.
are there.
Yes. What is your fearless forecast for your project, the Philippine cinnamon, with plant
Oh, we really want to
health?
save the Philippine cinnamon. I'd like to be able to plant at least 1 million in the next 5 years. Ang effects ini is, you know, when I started 2017, I was the only one selling cinnamon. If you go to our group right now, there are at least 10 people selling.
That's
That's
good.
competition for me.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
fine. But that's
Yes.
fine kasi I know, okay, people are planting cinnamon. Yan.
Yeah. That's
So the
good.
task now anyway, the task is always how to innovate in any
Yeah.
business, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Yan.
And your
So
business is
that's fine.
growing now since you started in 2017. Now you're selling hand sanitizers and many others, the seedlings.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So, and I'm lucky that the people around me
Mhm.
appreciate the work. No, I was able to recently get a funding from the Department of Science and Technology, no,
Mhm.
to mass propagate the Philippine
Yeah.
cinnamon. So this is
Yeah.
going to be the first. I mentioned to you earlier the field guide. It's going to be also the first in the
Yeah.
Philippines. No?
So the field guide,
So
tell us more about that.
so the field guide, right now kasi, 'di ba, we have 19 to 21 species, no?
Yes.
So that's why there's only very few names for Kalinga because they almost look the same, no?
Yeah.
But with the project, we'll be able to distinguish. Okay, when you see a cinnamon like this, ang muning dahon niya, ang muning smell niya, it is Cinnamomum X.
Okay.
Ang muning dahon niya, this is going to be Cinnamomum Y. Kasi di ba, we only are able to protect someone that we know.
Yeah.
And the first step is really knowing more about the cinnamon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the field guide has that purpose to identify what species that we can see in the wild or
Yeah.
in the forest,
Mhm.
and how do you distinguish one from the other, and what are the benefits that you can get from that. No?
Yeah.
So, for example, recently we distilled 12 leaves, no, from 12 mother trees.
Yes.
Iba-iba dyan smell niya.
Yeah.
Iba-iba dyan smell
Yeah.
niya.
That's
Tapos iba,
interesting.
lain-lain man ang output
Mhm.
sa kada species.
Yeah.
Yan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, after this, we'll be able to suggest what kind of cinnamon to plant if you
Yeah.
want on a plantation type. And then
Mhm.
we'll be able to tell you an estimate of how much can you produce because we know the output, diba?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and only when we are able to set up or build the industry again for the cinnamon, that we'll be able to make sure that people will take care of it and then propagate it.
Yeah. As an ordinary person, like anyone listening to you right now, how can we help you? How can we contribute to this project?
So I would suggest first to please buy the seedling and plant it in your home, no?
Mm.
Because aside from it will help you, it will help me, it will help the farmers, it will help the environment. So plant, 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 please plant. Yeah.
Okay.
If there's
And where
one
can they get
message,
the seedlings? Where can they buy the
so
seedlings?
so thank you for asking that. Now they can buy it. They can visit me in our website, so plantsville-health.com, or they can go to our Facebook page, Home Organic PH Plantsville Health, or they can go to our Shopee store. They can order a COD for cinnamon seedlings. They can go to our SM store for the seedlings.
Oh, that's
They can even go to so the seed plant. The second way that they can help is if they could please read all the things that we say in our website to
mhm.
get to know more about cinnamon.
Yeah.
Kasi I'm very confident, and I've seen it even in farmers, that the more they understand what it is, the
Yeah.
more convinced they are about the
Yeah.
product. Yeah.
Yes. Imagine the hundreds of ways you can use cinnamon. It is so useful. It even tastes good, of course, and smells really,
And
really good
smells
too.
good. Yes.
Yes.
By the way, cinnamon, nami, siya bala magpatulog. You drink a
Mm.
tea. If you can't sleep,
Yeah.
drink a tea. It will help you sleep.
Yeah. Okay. You don't need to take sleeping pills. Just drink
Yes, yes,
cinnamon
yes.
tea. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Now, what's next for you and the Philippine cinnamon?
Okay. So, very exciting, no? For me, yung next na level, we will be able to have to wait for the flowering season to get the seeds.
Mhm.
Excuse me. We'll be able to plant using the cuttings. And because the farmers have already started planting it, we'll have source for the cuttings.
Yeah.
So mass propagation is really exciting. So that's one. Second, we now have two distillers. We'll be able to distill not just the cinnamon, but
Mhm.
also plants that are aromatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plants that are.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be able to also sell abroad for
Yeah.
Filipinos abroad, like
Wow.
you.
That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So, Nov, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your knowledge about Philippine cinnamon, and of course, for sharing your story with us, which is so exciting and inspiring. How you were led to this industry, how you are now helping the farmers and helping all of us realize how blessed we are in the Philippines to have cinnamon, to grow our own. No? Anyways, and so
Yes.
is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners and viewers?
Okay. So siguro, so plant, no? Please plant cinnamon. Then the second also siguro is, parang, oh, so I'm here, no? I'm in pink. So please vote for your, for, for, for candidates that you think will help the environment and will help those who are in the margins. Yeah,
Yeah,
so yun.
yeah,
And then siguro the third is, if you can please talk about the Philippine cinnamon to young people, please do.
yes.
Para they grow up in the with the knowledge that we have this thing, Philippine cinnamon. And lastly, of course, if you could please buy from us to so that we can continue our work.
Yes, it is important. We would truly support you so that you can continue your work. So I am campaigning for you, for everyone to go visit
Ville-health.
plantsville-health.com to know more
Yes.
about Philippine cinnamon. And of course, to go to your store at SM City. Is it at SM City Bacolod?
Yes, it's in the North Wing.
Yes. Okay. They'll just look for Plantsville Health.
Yes.
Yes, and that's a long way to, like, you have gone a long way no, from starting in 2017 campaigning for Philippine cinnamon. Now you have a lot of support, a lot of funding, and hopefully there will be more people that will plant Philippine cinnamon and
Yes,
appreciate
yes.
your work, of course. That's really social entrepreneurship.
Oh, thank you, Chat.
Okay, so now thank you so much once again, and more power to you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, please feel free to put your comments below in the comment section, because of course this podcast is also going to be streamed on Facebook. You can also listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and any of your favorite podcast apps. Of course, you can also watch this in YouTube, in my YouTube channel, Life Expressions. Once again, thank you to my dear guest, November Canieso-Yeo. I'm Chari Hinetti Elon, your host for Life Expressions. Till next time.